Hey, welcome to another episode of Real Conversation. I'm your host, Nicole Jones.
And I'm Terry. And tonight we have a wonderful show for you. Uh, First, I just want to start off by saying, Nicole, how you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. How about you, Shaquana?
I am well. I cannot complain. I'm just grateful to be here once again. We took another week off to kind of handle some stuff that we had to do. So we are back and ready to talk about so many different things. It is July 3rd, and a lot of things has happened in the previous week. So we just kind of want to delve into that and go from there. Um, I don't know if you all remember us talking about a young woman who she's from Georgia. I think her name was Arianna Smith, and she actually was declared brain dead sometime in February. And she, being that she was pregnant at the time, they had to keep her on life support due to the Georgia fetal heartbeat law. She actually was laid to rest on June 28th, I believe. And she did have, they let her have her baby, which ended up being, I think the baby was born about 1 pound and a couple of ounces, maybe 6 ounces or so. And it's just a sad thing because we were talking about that weeks ago, and how we didn't really agree with them keeping her on life support, but that was the Georgia state law that they had to abide by. What do you think, Nicole?
Man, so I got to see the video of her son, that young man in the picture with her right there. They brought him to say his goodbyes to his mom, and girl, that video brought me to tears. He was devastated that his mom was no longer here, and I understand that Georgia has that heartbeat law, but it's stuff like this that you have to like take into consideration because yes, you saved a life, but that young man also lost his mom, and hopefully he doesn't resent the baby. You know how people resent, oh, you live, but my mom didn't live, and all this other, stuff like that. But it's in
Mhm.
regards to like, she didn't die because of the baby, but you get what I'm saying.
I get it. Yeah, yeah. Um, you know, that is a factor, but just also thinking about, he's so young, maybe 6 or 7 years old, and now he has a sibling that will not know their mom at all, and now the grandmother has to raise both children, and I'm pretty sure she's doing it without any malice in her heart. She's just like,
Oh yeah.
but I understood when she was saying this should not have happened, right? I should not be here, and my daughter is where she is. Like, I should not be the one burying her. She should be burying me, And it was a really, really heartbreaking situation. And I don't know, girl. I don't know what I would have done, if that was my child, it really is heartbreaking, but our thoughts and prayers, go out, to the family. They're going to be grieving for a long time. This is something that is hurtful, and a lot of it, when we talked about the previous story where the hospital didn't run the test that they were supposed to run on her. And had they done that, there may have been a higher chance of survival, So it was just so much, negligence across the board that I feel like it shouldn't have even happened. But
Yeah, I was
you
going to
know,
touch base on that because I really do think that when someone comes to the hospital, especially in her state, she was
yeah,
a young pregnant woman. Um, she should have never been sent home. No one should be sent home. Do the test that needs to be taken, to make sure that the person that you're sending home is actually okay. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense why they think these things keep happening because this is not the first case. This is the first pregnant, this is the first case of the woman being pregnant, but this is not the first case of someone going to the emergency room because they're not feeling well and they send them home and then they go home and actually, she wait, I can't remember if she went back to the hospital and ended up being non-responsible or if it happened at home.
No,
But
it happened at home. They found
it
her
happened at home.
responsible at
Okay.
home. The
Yeah.
day, I
So
believe it was the day after she went to the hospital. And they ran. I didn't even think they ran any tests. She told them that her head was hurting or something like that. She gave them her symptoms, and they didn't give her MRI. Didn't give her anything like that. It's just a lot.
but if you think about it, they can't really give her an MRI because she's pregnant. But let's say she was brought into the ER, unconscious. They would have done whatever they needed to do to make sure that her vitals were what they're supposed to be. And if they did that, then they would have realized whatever the situation was
Mhm.
that caused her situation and fixed it,
Yeah.
even though she's pregnant. So
Yeah.
I think that there are certain things that they need to start implementing so stuff like this don't happen again.
Yeah, for sure. Well, again, our hearts and prayers go out to her and her, the family, kids, and hopefully, this is something that gets easier as time goes by. All right. So the I saw something. It's all over the internet. Talking about Ashanti and Nelly. And him saying that he doesn't change diapers. He doesn't get up in the middle of the night with the baby. And I was just baffled because that's a part of parenting. That's a part of having a newborn in the home. Why are you even there if I can't if I cannot depend upon you to do what it is that you're supposed to do as a dad? I don't know what the full story is, Nicole, but you could give me that real quick.
So everyone knows that Nelly and Ashanti, we belong together at uh what is considered to be not a podcast, it's a reality TV show that is airing on Peacock. I watched all 8 episodes. I do like it. I was engaged. The only thing that I was a little taken back by is how Nelly did not take care of the baby at all. Okay, and Nelly's not the only father that feels this way. Obviously, all fathers don't feel this way, but Nelly has 4 other children. 2 are his biological kids, and the other 2 are his niece and nephews that he adopted when his sister passed away. He is an awesome dad, from according to the kids and what everybody else speak about. But this man is saying that until little man is up and walking and talking, it's all on Ashanti. She gotta handle this. She got everything under control. And I think he's crazy.
Well, it would be different, right? If she was just a stay-at-home mom and not doing anything. And not saying that that's right, but it'd be a little bit more. It'd be easier for her to handle. But she goes out. She does shows. She does so many different things for her career, and for him to not even bend on that just a little bit, I wonder what the conversation was prior to this baby coming. And sometimes we don't think to have those types of conversations like, hey, we got to agree upon who's getting up in the middle of the night, what days we're doing this. There has to be a level of, like they agree with each other. But at this point, it's like, even in like the clips, her face was like, she was not in agreement with him at all. And you could tell that she was easily, annoyed by what he was saying. And as if they had just had that conversation. And he was just like, no, that's it. It's crazy.
So, according to what he said in the in the clip, in the actual show, I watched the actual show, but they did have the conversation. The only thing that they did not speak about prior to getting married, because after they got engaged, they got married really quickly. Was where they're gonna reside at. So, but I think that whatever he said, Ashanti probably thought that shit. Sorry,
Yeah.
my bad. Ashanti probably just thought that he was just blowing smoke, like when the baby gets here, of course he's gonna help.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that I can say, Ashanti is breastfeeding. She is how we all were our first kid, we're excited to be a mom, excited about all the little clothes that our kids are wearing. But she is literally all that her baby eats is that breast milk. There are parents that literally have half formula, half breast milk. She is full on breastfeeding. So she's always, when she go to her shows or whatever it is that she's doing, she's pumping. So you would think that your husband, the father of your child, would be assisting with everything that goes on. And I'm not saying, because he has shows as well,
Yeah.
but yeah, very disappointed in that part.
Very disappointing. There should be a level of compromise there. And him realizing that, have some grace, handle her with some care, because this is her first child. You've gone through this a number of times and she has not. So she's going to need all the support that she can get, whether it's from her mom or or his family, her family. But the support needs to come from in-house, i.e. him, and letting her know that, I'm here to support you in this. A year is a long time and I don't even know if that's a year. He said when the baby is talking, when the baby is walking. I'm like, wait a minute, sir. How, Sway? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And I feel like that's going to be a point of contention in their relationship. And I'm praying that she does not get really tired and bogged down with the situation, because with her schedule, with everything that she has going on, it's easy to get depressed. It's easy to get a level of anxiety while you're away doing certain things, and because you don't have enough rest, because you're not getting the help that you need at home when you need it.
Agreed.
It really sucks. So I'm hoping that that changes. I know the internet has mad stuff to say about that. And they were roasting him, roasting him in those comments, and hopefully he sees that and changes his tune.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Let's see on the next 8 episodes that come out.
You'll let me know what's going on with that, because I refuse to pay for another subscription. Okay, I'm over that.
I miss free TV.
Well, we complained about paying that cable bill. Now we got a Wi-Fi bill. Now we have all the stuff that we have. We have a Wi-Fi bill. We have Hulu. We have Netflix. I got Disney Plus.
Everything.
Paramount Plus. I have every single thing that I really don't want. So it's crazy. But yeah. So hopefully, though, if I ever do catch an episode, I'm hoping that I do hear or see good things in regards to that situation. So
I mean, it's really, really good. So I give it 2 thumbs up.
Okay.
I really love it. You can tell when she's annoyed. One thing I do love about Ashanti, it does not matter if she doesn't agree with her husband with whatever it is that he does. She is not going to sit there and say not one bad thing about him to anybody. You're going to have to talk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you see it in her face?
Yeah. Straight New Yorker.
In her face.
A seasoned New Yorker, because that's not, if that was a young version of her, it would have been way different. Yeah, she actually talks about that on the episode when she said that back in the days, in her 20s, they used to go at it. She used to argue. She was like, she's a little different now. She's a little reserved right now.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I guess more to come on that. All right. So the last and final thing we have for current events. Yesterday, y'all, Sean Diddy Combs was acquitted of some charges, right? The most serious charges. But he is now awaiting sentencing for that final charge. So, Nicole, let's kind of unpack that, because I was shocked, but they did not. The prosecution did not provide enough evidence. His personal life wasn't on trial, right? And they tried to put that in there so that you could know what kind of person he was. So if the objective was to assassinate his character, they did a great job at that, right? They did a great job at that. But when it comes to the charges that he was acquitted of, what do you think?
I think that if he was going to jail, it should have been what he was acquitted for. Because, to be honest with you, they said, what was it, 2 counts of prostitution, right?
He found guilty of prostitution.
Yeah.
All right, so
in the nicest way possible. Okay? Because there's a man that we call the president right now who did a lot worse. And he is our president. Did no jail time. Will you call what he did prostitution?
Well, who did?
Diddy. Not what he did, but what he, the situation. Would you call that prostitution?
Well, I think it's more along the lines of sex trafficking, mainly because of what he was doing. He was like pimping, putting her out there, putting these women out there.
Women. What I mean, let's talk about Cassie though, right?
Okay.
I'm not trying to say that, it wasn't a traumatic experience for her. I'm not saying anything like that, because I'm sure it was. But all these years later, I don't care how old she was, we all have a choice, right? Because if he was sitting up there, listen, I wasn't a fly on the wall, so I do not know what was going on, okay? All we know is the reason why a lot of things happened in that courtroom, the reason why a lot of stuff was thrown away by the feds is because there was a lot of people lying. So you may have got him on some real stuff if y'all didn't go in there lying.
I don't know if it was more so lying. I think that people were I
heard it was lying.
I mean, yeah, I guess some people were stretching the truth, but there were other people that couldn't really recall certain things in the time frame that it happened. So then it becomes, because if something happened over 20 years ago, I'm probably not going to remember. Okay?
No.
So if there's any, and the word I was looking for was inconsistencies, right? If I feel like there's an inconsistency, if my story is inconsistent, I don't know if I'm going to use that particular situation that happened in order to make a charge stick, because I'm really not sure really what happened, and lawyers are really good at chopping up evidence to say, hey, listen, I don't know, because we have it on this day at this time, this is what happened, and you can't say, oh, it did, oh, I remember it. I guess it happened that way. You can't say that, you know. It really is sucky. But what it is that so they found him guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Okay. Now, like I said, he was acquitted of the most serious charges: racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. He still, though, is facing a maximum of 20 years in prison because both of those counts carry a maximum sentence of 10 years.
Oh, so hold on.
So he's
I thought they gave him 10 years. You're saying that both charges was 10 years each?
each, right? So he can face up to 20 years. But the thing about that is, they didn't even deny. They denied him bail.
Yeah.
So people were like, "Oh, he's gonna be leaving." No, the judge was like, "No, he has to stay in jail until he's actually sentenced, right? Which is sometime in the fall."
It's in October.
Yeah,
it's in October, and I'm like,
okay, so he'll be in jail at least until then, regardless of the fact. Okay, putting all of this here to the side, it really is a lesson to him, right? First of all, you're not untouchable, and when you piss off people, certain things start to surface.
Well, when
they want to discredit you, when they want to show you that you, sir, are not untouchable, right? Mm-hmm. Whether or not these charges stick, people know what you've done. The videos are out there, regardless of how much money you have. If we have made you look like a bad person, we have assassinated your character. We have made you look like you have no integrity. We have made you look like all of those things that you said that you were not. So, is it, even if he, like I said, even if he doesn't go to jail, imagine all the people that went up against him, friends, people that used to talk to him, people who really thought that he was going to jail forever, right? And they went against him, talked their mess, people sided, and then the people that he thought were really friends, some of them stayed quiet. They were mute. So it really showed him who was in his corner. Mm-hmm. So if anything, if there's a lesson out of this, really is who's for him and who isn't. That's how I feel. You know? Like, I couldn't believe it. I was, just to think about it. It's like, okay, so you went in and you told all these stories against, some people have told them in secret. Some people told it to, they chimed in with their little 2 cents, Some people who had nickels in that dime, they chimed in. So now when he gets off on those things, and whether, like I said, whether he goes to jail or not, what do you say to him when he gets out?
Oh, he ain't talking to none of them motherfuckers.
Exactly. Like, it's crazy when people thought that he was going to jail for life, because some of those charges did carry life sentences, right? Mm-hmm. And being that he's acquitted of those, that whether he goes to jail for 1 year, 2 years, he's still getting 1 year, 20 years, he's still getting out.
So from my understanding, it said he was going to go to jail for 4 years. I think it said 51 months.
Okay.
I believe that. I don't think he's going to jail. I think they're going to do time served, to be honest with you. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but or if he does go to jail, it's going to be an extra year and then time served, whatever else that he did, No,
I think he should go to jail for that crime. That is, they did provide proof of that, which is the reason why they found him guilty on those charges. Mm-hmm. So they did find proof of that. Whether or not it'll stick, I think it will. And the
only reason why I say I don't think it's going to stick is because he's puffy. If this was a normal person, yes, they're going to jail, they're going to do the time, yada yada yada. This is Puffy we're talking about. You really think
we thought Bill Cosby wasn't going to jail? They took his ass right up in there. Bye. Okay.
Wait, but Bill Cosby's not in jail now.
No, but still he did time.
Wait, he did a few what? I mean, I can't remember how long. It was so quick. It was
Oh, you
so
think
quick.
so?
Over something that happened 100 years ago. A different time. I don't think people should be charged for something that happened, you know, so long ago. That's Listen, I'm
He
not saying that what he did was correct,
Bill
was right.
Cosby did 3 years.
He did 3 years.
For 3 years. You said it wasn't that much time. Like I'm pretty sure he didn't think that it wasn't that
Bill
much
Cosby
time.
did three
He,
years for something
he
that
was
happened
outside.
in 1895.
Yeah.
Come on. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. All we know is, wasn't he trying to buy NBC at that time?
Listen, but this is what I'm saying.
Come
I
on.
remember even Diddy with him talking about people being racist, when it came to his Ciroc and other things that he was trying to do, him speaking out. After that, then boom.
I think
all
it was
the
when he was gonna create the political party. They was like, oh no, we gotta get this dude up out of here.
So let me tell you, let me show you how insignificant you really are.
Mm-hmm.
We
That
let you
part.
get here. We let you get here. But let me show you how insignificant you really are. Let me show you how much power you don't have. Let me humble you. Let me humble you.
The
Crazy.
stuff that he was doing was not nice. It was not good. So I mean, you really was out there doing some crap that was just crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't go to jail for being a freak, but there are other things in there that you allow other people into your castle.
Yeah.
So they can see, everything that was going on. So that's on you. You gotta deal with that. You're gonna have to eat that one.
And that's why I said he's going to. I think those charges will stick. When it comes to the transportation charges and transportation prosecution charges, I think that will stick. If anything, you know what? This taught him a lesson, of course, in loyalty. But one and two, listen, I am not untouchable no matter how much money I have. I have enough coins that I can fight the case and beat some of the rap, but not all. And with all of these things, these new movements with Me Too, and people are going to be under fire when when it comes to if this doesn't go the way that they want it to go. So we'll see. But yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. But
I do feel bad for his girls though. I do. His daughters. It's pretty sad because this is the man who,
listen,
I don't know. It's like, how can you be this man that takes care of these young ladies and then do something totally opposite to someone else's daughter?
Yeah, I mean,
A little weird.
it definitely is weird. And it's like, do you like women? Period. Like because you talk bad about a woman, you hit a woman, you make it so that she is beneath you. Do you really like women?
But wait, so we're gonna say this part. So even though yes, it wasn't right that he hit her, the part that we didn't see was that she was the one hitting him.
You're right. I mean, I could see if it's a self-defense thing.
Of course.
But I mean, the way that the way that I saw him attack her in that hallway,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that is something. If her hitting him was her just saying enough is enough. Because ain't no way I'm gonna try to be hitting you and I know you're gonna beat my ass like that. No.
So if you think about it, if you remember, people said that there was a lot of times that she sat there and went towards him and it was the aggressive towards him. So I'm not saying that any of this is okay, but I'm gonna bring back the Rihanna situation. Remember, it was a situation when he's driving and she's being aggressive towards him, because of a message that came up on his phone.
Right.
But he wasn't trying to beat her, but he ended up hitting her and badly, we know what happened.
Yeah, we seen that, but I think, and that was a one-off situation because he had never heard her, and nor did he pimp her ass out. You know what I'm saying? So, like, come on now, what we talking? I wouldn't even. That's not even.
I'm just talking about the beating part.
Like no, like, if I know people can't make you do anything that you don't want to do. Nah. I get that. But if you're under the influence, which a lot of these people were, you're under the influence. That means that you are lowering your inhibition, right?
But she said she did it for him. That she was young and dumb, and and it's not saying she could have said no, and she chose to do it because it's Diddy. That's a choice.
And I understand that, but I think that I personally feel like when she did not want to do anymore, that's when
agreed
the abuse started. She's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And it almost feels like, okay, I own you now. You're gonna do this.
I mean,
I don't know.
I believe that statement. What you said, I own you. You're gonna do this. Mm-hmm. You're gonna do what I say. I believe that.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly. Yes, I believe that.
I'm speculating, but.
Oh yes, I know, but I'm just saying I can see him saying something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Listen, I'm hoping that anybody who was in this issue or in this case, hopefully they get justice in that. And I hope, unfortunately, he is the poster boy of what not to do, but somebody got to take the fall, right? So listen, if you even think about it. Listen, don't do it. In the age of social media,
don't do it.
Everybody records, right? Everybody records everything. Just if you think that no one will find out,
they will definitely find out.
They will, right? So let's move forward in that. But child, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh. Just a lot of the stuff that was happening. I was just. I was annoyed, and I did not follow the trial because I was getting a little annoyed. Once things started to get a little sloppy, and people were, a lot of things came out like, okay, this was maybe a half truth, or this was being tampered with. I'm like, I don't even want to see this. Let me just see what happens at the end, and then go from there. But.
That's all I cared about. Yeah. I did not care about the details at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So, we'll see what happens in the fall, what he gets sentenced to. Again, he's going to be sentenced in October by jury of his peers. And this case is something about what he's being charged with is about his personal life. So hopefully there's enough evidence, which I deem there to be enough evidence for him to go to jail at least 5 years. Like if both of those charges hold 10 years, I believe he should do 10 years. And listen, I understand what you were saying about his daughters or whatever else, but he should have thought about them as well. Like,
I totally agree
about your kids when you weren't thinking about anybody else. So I'm sorry, that's how I feel. No,
I totally agree with that. He definitely was not thinking about his kids.
No. No, he sure wasn't. So it's like, I get it, but they're like 18, right? They all right.
Are they 18?
I don't know. I have no idea what they are, but they have people that support them. They have people that are around them that be able to assist, with his little 5-year bid or whatever he has to do. So I'm sorry, I'm not that. No. Anyway, so so the next topic that we're going to talk about really is releasing what no longer serves you. And I think that Diddy could have benefited from this conversation. Okay, there's certain things that we should not do, certain people we should not have around us that we should be releasing in order to do what's best for us. Right, Nicole?
Yeah.
So releasing what no longer serves us. whether whether that's vices, right? Whether that's people, whether that's things and stuff that any addictions that we may have. It's important for us to, one, recognize those things that we don't need or things that don't serve our highest good, and then release them. You know, find out what they are, work through them, and then release them. What do you think, Nicole?
Yeah. I mean, I think everything should just be released. Nah, yeah, just like anybody, like if you know that generally, like dealing with a person that has toxic habits, toxic traits or whatever the case may be, that's not good for you. So therefore, separate yourself from that. You can talk about, like, let's say you in your house is cluttered with whatever it is that it's cluttered with, um, getting rid of all that. It's just releasing it, like throwing things away that you do not need. I think it's very important for people to get rid of things that doesn't serve them at all,
Well,
including
it's
like that's
therapeutic.
generally and in relationships.
Yeah, and it's therapeutic, right?
Hmm.
It releases a burden in many cases. It releases a weight off of you.
Hmm.
When you're holding on to things, it reminds me of that song by Erica Badu, "Bag Lady." Like,
Ooh.
like she tells you like how many bags you're carrying, so many different compartments that things that you carry over the years, and you just keep carrying it into each year. You keep carrying. You say a new year, new me. Can't be, because you're carrying the stuff from 20 years ago into the next year, right?
And the bag just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Girl, bag is getting bigger. Your back is getting bigger. Like,
You sitting up there bending over because it's too heavy to bear. Those are called
yeah,
burdens,
yeah. All your burdens, and sometimes they're burdens of others, not even yours. There are
right?
things that you have already released, but then people want to keep putting them on you and try to bring them back into your memory. Like, no, once you release it, let it go, let it stay there, and then move forward. Easier said than done, but not um hard to do. It's something that can be done, I should say.
Hmm.
So it's important for us to do that. And there are many ways that we can do that. We can talk about it. Listen, I recommend therapy. If there's something that you cannot release, it's so hard, you can't forgive, whatever it is, go to therapy and allow somebody with a PhD to assist you. Because sometimes your family can't do it. Your friends won't be able to assist you with that. Sometimes there are deep rooted hurt that come from many things like molestation as a child, abuse as a child, whether it's sexual, like I said, or mental, or even physical. There's certain things that's so ingrained in us that we don't even know that's there until, and it helps us. It forges our path, and we don't even realize that it forges our path until we're triggered by it, right?
Hmm.
And so it's important for us to be honest with ourselves, release those things, and then move forward. So that's my little rant for tonight. Um,
It's
what?
funny that you said that because uh, I was speaking to my significant other, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
And that's something that came up. How we all need to go to therapy. It's very therapeutic for you. You can learn something, there. I never gone, but that's something that I've always thought about because there's a lot of things that you need to dive in and you know get up out of that. It's very deep. Get that up
yeah,
out of there, so you can breathe better.
absolutely.
So but yeah, absolutely. I think Shaquana, you got that one.
Listen,
Definitely go to
I'm a
therapy.
candidate for, I am an advocate, I should say, for therapy because I have gone to therapy. I've suffered losses throughout my life, and this past time I was like, okay, I gotta talk to someone, and I was able to understand grief better. Understand, they have like the 5 stages of grief, and I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even know that, and I was able to understand grief, and then get through it. And I'm like, so now I'm like, I got this, you know? And it helped me to understand my feelings, what I was going through. And it helped those people who I spoke to about it understand where I was in that particular season of my life. But you know, now I'm good. But it's important, you know, for people to realize when it's time for them to talk to somebody, and may not be that, you know, sometimes the church can't help you. Sometimes, you know, your family, your friends can't help you. It's important to go see a doctor, somebody who's certified in that in your situation, to be able to assist you and get you through it. It's important.
And the awesome part is, you don't have to go lay on someone's couch. You can be in your own home, you know, talking to them all over the computer or your phone or whatever the case may be. So that's the dopest part.
Yeah.
You don't want to go inside. You don't want people to see you going in to see a therapist.
Yeah.
You know, you can just do it on the phone or the computer. So that's dope.
For sure. Yeah, because there's no excuse anymore. Oh, I don't have the time. Yeah, okay. Get on your computer real quick or on your phone and do this Zoom call with your therapist. It's so easy to do. They got telehealth, they have all that stuff. And I think the biggest thing that I want to leave with people about releasing what no longer serves them is, even if when you go to speak to these people, be honest with them and be honest with yourself, because they can't heal what you don't reveal.
That's a whole fact right there.
So, all right.
Well,
so I think this is a great show. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into Real Conversation. Tomorrow is the 4th of July. It's Independence Day. Well, not our independence, but y'all already know what's going on out here. But it's Independence Day. The nation is celebrating the Independence Day. Nicole, what do you have planned for tomorrow?
Well, nothing. I might go see one of my friends because she's about to have surgery or whatever the case may be. But after that, I heard that they're doing fireworks somewhere. Okay. I'm still touching base with my man about that, trying to see where we're going. So it's gonna be us going to go see the fireworks.
Oh, nice.
Later on. But listen, this weekend is amazing for me because I'm off the entire weekend.
Hey,
so I'm excited about that.
Yes, we love being off. That's good. I really don't have any plans. I'm trying to get a hot dog or something from somebody. All beef, sabrette. Okay,
hot dog.
All beef, sabrette with a little bit of sauerkraut on that joint.
Ooh, yes.
Okay? That's what I'm looking for on the 4th. So hopefully I can find one. I'm pretty sure I can find it at somebody's barbecue this weekend. So that's all I got going on.
That's the one thing I'm going to miss about New York. Them hot dogs things.
Oh, right. Those called dirty water dogs.
Yes, but guess what? Them dirty water hot dogs is really, really good. Okay. Really, really good. We grew up on that stuff. Okay.
Sabrette.
We're still here.
Because they don't give you no Nathan, they sabrette, okay? Yeah. Ooh, child, a little pretzel. I'm gonna have to do that when I go to New York next time. Yes. Oh my God. So anyway, we thank you again so much for tuning into Real Conversation. Once again, I'm your host, Quana Terry.
And I'm your host, Nicole Jones.
And you can catch us every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube at real_convos_podcast. And where else can you find us, Nicole?
On Facebook at Real Conversations and Real Conversations 2021.
Okay, so thank you again for watching. Have a happy 4th and God bless.